Welcome to Garden Fork Radio. I'm your host, Eric Racho. We're having kind of a spontaneous episode here. Mike and I thought we would Skype in on Daniel Delaney and see how he is doing. He is the host of Vendr TV and The Hungry Peddler, and we're going to try and see if we can Skype in on his iPhone. So let's see what happens here. All right?
Mike?
Hello. I'm here.
Mike.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
So we're with our friend Daniel Delaney, who's from Vendr TV and The Hungry Peddler. And so you called me about apples yesterday. I want to know how that played out.
Yeah, well, so, my girlfriend and I decided to go apple picking yesterday just because that's what you do when the leaves change color. And so we went up to New York and got like a trunk load of apples, just like so many apples. And one thing that was really neat is that they sold what they call utility apples. And I didn't really know about this, but they sold apples that are kind of like seconds. They're a little bruised or a little ugly or just not what you want on, the shelf at the grocery store for kind of like half price. And I didn't know about that. And so we bought a lot of seconds. We bought, many, many pounds of seconds to try and make apple pie, apple butter, apple sauce. So we have them. We went home and we actually stopped at this store in our neighborhood in Brooklyn called the Meat Hook in the Brooklyn Kitchen to purchase. Well, we were going to get canning jars, and we also decided to get this little peeler slicer core device where you stick the apple on this sort of rotating peg or series of pegs, these little spikes, and you crank a handle, and a little like razor basically shaves off the thing, shaves off the rind, and then also sort of cuts it into this, curly Q shape and pulls the core out.
Yeah.
So we thought this would be because of all the apples we had, and generally we want almost all of the finished products to be sans skin and also without the core. Or this seemed like a really efficient method. The only problem is that it kind of sucked. It wasn't that good. After a while, we got the hang of it, but soft apples like Macintosh, it just doesn't really handle them very well.
Yeah.
It just kind of like mushed it all over the place. And so it was a little bit, it was one of the situations where in theory it was really a beautiful sort of time saver, but the lack of efficiency made it just a time suck.
Yeah, I have one that works. I have one that works over in the.
So.
I'm sorry. I have one of those, and I use it for the hard apples. For the mushy ones, it just doesn't do it though. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say as seen on Garden Fork TV because
Yeah.
that's the first place I'd ever seen one was one of your episodes when you were using it.
So what'd you make? What'd you end up making?
Yeah. We made applesauce, and I'm actually just realizing now that we also have apple butter in the slow cooker, and we forgot to turn it off. And I'm going out to a wedding right now, so we are not going to be home till tonight. So I don't know what we're going to have when we get home. We might just have like apple crisp, apple burnt. But we piled these cord sliced apples into the slow cooker on low to try that. And I forgot to check it this morning, so I really don't know what we have. So that's not that helpful. But we also did just throw apples in the pot and let them cook down, and they tasted great. And that was just, I don't know, like this whole apple butter thing, it might be more tedious than it's worth. Because apple butter is also something you use so sparingly. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about the apple butter.
All right, I want to learn more about it, but let me know. I'm sure you'll let me know how that plays out. So, all right, we'll let you go. We just wanted to say hello.
We will.
And enjoy your wedding, sir.
And I have a question for the Garden Fork radio community, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my question for the Garden Fork radio community is, it's about pie crust. We've been fooling around and trying to come up with an amazing pie crust, and we'd also like to try and figure out if we can use a food processor. And so what I'm curious about is lard or shortening or butter, and like ratios and portions. What people prefer. We've been trying a lard crust, and we think we like that, but I'm interested in hearing what everyone else has to say.
All right. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, we're going to play this on the internet radio, and people will email us or tell us somehow. So, all right, cool, man.
Cool. What do you guys use?
What are we doing? I use butter.
I don't make a lot of pie crusts. I like the crumble recipes because you don't have to worry about the crust.
All right. All right, Daniel, we're going to let you go, all right? Is he there?
No, it says call dropped. Was he in Baghdad? That's kind of how this sounded. It was like the CNN satellite delay.
No, he was in his car with the Skype on the iPhone. So he was going to a wedding. So he was
Yeah.
sport enough to answer that. You can make pie crust in a food processor, and the trick for me, from what I've read and also done, is very, very cold butter that's cubed up into little squares. And if you pull the butter out, you should keep it on some ice or something. It's so maybe it's not quite frozen butter, but the colder that butter is, the better it works out.
I'm trying to remember the name of that show that's on NPR, the with the lady. Do you know what I'm talking about? We talked about it in the past. The last week's show, she talked about making a really simple pie crust in a food processor,
Oh
and
yeah, she's on Sunday nights.
um and
Someone that's yelling at their radio right now telling
yeah,
us
I
the
can't.
name.
It's killing me right now. But she mentioned using cold water, ice cold water in there to hold it all together as well. But she used lard.
Yes. Yeah, lard,
What?
lard has kind of a bad name, but you're not using a lot of it, you know?
And I heard some things about lard that it's not so bad, and I'm not sure why people
Yeah.
have this aversion to it. But there's a Mexican restaurant near us that uses lard when they make their stuff, which makes it better. I mean, it's more authentic. But they don't like telling people that. They kind of keep it close to the cuff to make sure nobody uh, uh, gets all freaked out because oh my God, we're eating lard.
Yeah. It's called the Splendid Table, by the way.
That's it. Thank you.
So, she's so nice to people when they call in, and I'm like some of the people are kind of knuckleheads, you know? But she's so gracious, and I'd be like, let's get this guy off the air.
Well, that's why you have to listen to Car Talk. They're a little they'll let them have it.
Yeah, oh, I thought, I forgot, I am going to set up the viewer call-in thing.
Oh yeah.
I just forgot to do it before we're recording, so we will have that happening. And Daniel, by the way, he did the first part of his Hungry Peddler show, and then ran into a logistical problem. He had driven his car to Boston. The idea was to leave that car in Boston because that was their end point. And he drove up into Maine with a rental car, left the rental up there, and started pedaling down. And on his way down, discovered that his car, which he left at a friend's house in Boston, had been towed away and put in an impound lot. So there was kind of a drama there about trying to get his car. So he had to cut the initial part of his trip short and go down, and it took quite a while to get his car. The key was lost. They didn't know what lot it was in. Um, but he writes about that on the Kickstarter uh, Hungry Peddler site a little bit. So, but they're going back up in October, and the first part of it went really well. I had breakfast with him and Miko at Marlowe and Sons. For those of you foodies, we can drop names there. They have a really good egg sandwich in the morning. They make it out of a biscuit. It's like a homemade biscuit.
Oh wow.
So I've kind of lapsed from my biscuit making, but I need to get back into that. I have to work on that some more.
It's funny how that works. 'Cause for a while there, I was making bread like every week, and I stopped for a while. I've got to get back into that as well.
Well, I mean, it's fall's coming, so it's kind of I think people spend more time in the kitchen, when the summer winds down anyway. So
It's a harvest thing, I think. I
yeah,
don't know.
I'm also going to start. I'm going to kind of repair my cold frame, my hoop house cold frame, and kind of pay attention more to about what I'm going to plant. I'm going to plant it now so it'll start sprouting, and then see if I can keep it going an extra couple of weeks with the thing. I don't think I can get it. The plants will go dormant in the winter, but maybe we could be like Elliot Coleman and harvest it, all that kind of thing. Have you
Right.
read? Have you seen his book or anything?
No, no. And right now I'm trying to find that article about the newspaper thing because she was talking about still planting things for the fall, and there was a plant in there that I didn't know what it was.
The broccoli?
No, it wasn't broccoli, which he found broccoli starts, which was interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
What was
I
it?
I don't know. Let's see. We can edit out this. I say that as if I'm next to Eric
You could
cutting the
edit
show.
if you want. I'll let you edit.
We can get there eventually. Let's see. It was the
A
newspaper. I
plant.
have That's how much email I have now from Garden Fork is that I can't find the article you sent me.
Broccoli. And was she talking about plants that you can grow in the fall?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, by the way, she quotes a gentleman, Mr. Reich, Lee Reich, who I have heard talk. He's a soil scientist, and he has a book called Weedless Gardening. And we talked about this a little bit on the previous show, but the whole idea of laying down newspaper and then putting dirt on top of it. But he has a book on pruning that I have, and he gives talks. So he's one of these wicked smart guys here, um, which is kind of neat. So at the end of the article, but I like that she forgot to add in the fertilizer, kind of like Eric. She goes, I forgot to sprinkle cottonseed meal. So she laid down newspaper, 4 inches of compost. Um, what does she say here? Boy, do we sound organized or not?
Well, because this was an impromptu show, so
Yes, this is the impromptu show. Oh, but Mr. Reich has a great thing to deal with the weeds. He says, the paragraph that Anne writes, when weeds do grow, as they inevitably will, blowing in on the wind or sprouting from less than perfect compost, Mr. Reich suggests spritzing them while they are still sprouts with a homemade solution. A gallon of vinegar with 2 tablespoons of canola oil, it says other oils will gum up, and 1 tablespoon of liquid ivory dish detergent. So I thought that was pretty cool. He says, I just spray it on a regular basis. You have to starve out the roots, so don't wait and let the weeds get big. Pretty cool, huh?
yeah, that's kind of like the salt and vinegar.
Yeah. So there you go. That's at the New York Times. If you go to their gardening section or search for Anne Raver, ANNERAVER, or it's called In the Garden is her column. I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, I'm at a complete loss. I can't find it. You'd have to send it to me again or something.
They're so organized.
Yeah, well, or just look at the list of things that she's going to plant this fall. It says it there.
Yeah. And by the way, there's a woman named Ginger who writes a lot of comments um, on the site, which I really like. And it's like, congrats on the 1 year anniversary. What does she say here? Da, 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 da. Oh, she was talking about plastic mulch, which I use, and it's interesting because the camera operator isn't really thrilled with it. And she says, the big contention in my house is plastic mulch. Hubby hates it. He finds it hard to work around and it has to be pulled up before the garden is tilled under. I love it because it is hot on the feet. I like to garden barefoot, and red I have red plastic for under the tomatoes and silver for under the cabbage, and in dimmer spots of the wall garden, silver for cabbage and the dimmer spots of the wall garden, and black for just about everywhere else. They sell a biodegradable version. I found it doesn't really biodegrade. Hubby was still running into it 2 years after we used it. Not fun to get on the disker, let me tell you. And just wanted to mention about the pizza stone. It doesn't matter how good the stone is. Any amount of moisture will make it crack. I lost mine baking bread when I missed the oven with the water and to get that nice chewy crust. I've been told that unglazed clay floor tiles will work just as well and can be cheaper to replace. Which is totally true. You can get the terracotta tiles for your floor. You have to make sure they weren't made with lead. But you can get 4 or 6 of them and put them in your oven. And I've tried this, but the thing is with the pizza, it's kind of hard to scoop the pizza back up because the tiles have little ridges, and you've got 4 or 6 of them together, and the peel hits that. So I thought about you could make a little metal frame that would hold 4 or 6 tiles all together. So I don't know, just something I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I've got a commercial one. I've been really lucky that I haven't cracked mine. And it's actually a round one.
Yeah.
You get it from those house parties. Everyone buys that stone from them. Um, let's see here. I found the article, and now I'm skimming like crazy. Uh, it's not even important anymore, but I can't stop. Um, all right.
I'm not even going to edit this. I'm just this
Just
is
gonna.
live. This is live garden fork, everybody.
Oh, here it is. Spinach, arugula, and mache. It's got
Mache.
a little thing over the A, so it's
Yeah.
very exotic.
I call it
What is
mache.
that?
It's corn salad, which actually can grow wild, but it is the cultivated versions are really good. It kind of spreads itself over the soil. It has these small little kind of diamond-shaped leaves, I think. No, kind of triangle-shaped leaves, and it works. It's a
And
good. It grows. It'll grow, and when nothing else will grow besides spinach in the cold soil, that thing will grow. It just kind of takes off. It can, it can also spread, so it kind of, watch where you plant it. But it's
make
it's
sure
a
you,
it's an
you eat
annual.
it up, right? Make sure you eat it. Yes. Oh, it's an annual, so it won't come back.
No, but it has a lot of seeds, little tiny seeds. So
Okay, so she says spinach, mustard greens, short season bok choy,
yep,
claytonia. What is claytonia?
that's like mache. It's another kind of exotic, but that's a that's another neat one that you can put in the mesclun mix. I'm sure Fedco has it in one of their seed mixes. For they have the winter lettuce mix and the spring garden mix, so that kind of thing is in there, which you can order seeds from them right now online. Fedcoseeds.com, I think it is, or fedcoseeds.org.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Ur- Herba stella is another one that she mentioned. I don't know what that is. So these are all like leafy greens, yes?
Yeah, yeah, nothing else is really going to grow. You might get radishes, I don't know. Or, spinach is always a good one. So,
Okay. So sometimes when I try to remember something, I'll send an email to myself. So I'll follow up on it later.
yeah,
So to the version of me that's listening to this later this week, order your seeds and stuff. Go do it right now.
yeah. And order your garlic and plant your garlic. It's time to get the
Yeah.
garlic. And I found some really nice hardneck garlic at the food co-op, which was kind of neat because I usually go to the farmer's market, or I have some from my crop, but I always want to supplement with other kinds of, different garlics. So I buy it from the different farmers at the farmers markets, but at the local food co-op, they had hardneck garlic, and you can tell it's hardneck because it has a thick stem in the middle, and it doesn't have a bunch of layers of garlic cloves. And that was the cheapest sea garlic I've ever bought. So, and it looks like a German or Polish hardneck. It's got these big cloves, like six big cloves around it. So I'm gonna get that. That'll be fun.
The uh do you have I have nighttime Mike and daytime Mike, or night Mike and early morning Mike, and they don't like each other. Night Mike comes home and doesn't want to stop at the gas station to fill the tank because he's too tired and just wants to get home, and
Yeah.
then morning Mike is really mad at night Mike because he's got to fill the tank in the morning. So that's into the head of Mike. You said you wanted to hear some.
I was like, where's that coming from?
Well, it comes from the I'm recording with Eric Mike to the later in the week when, just come on, man, go order the seeds, because
Yeah.
I'll have an excuse then for why I can't do it. So I'm, the spring Mike who wishes he would have planted the garlic is mad at the fall Mike who couldn't find the time to do it. So
Is your text messaging working again?
no, not yet.
Okay, then
Not
I can't yell at you by text message, so I'll just have to email you. So,
yet. Yeah.
all right. Well, there you go. There's our little impromptu interview with Daniel Delaney. If you guys are making things with apples in the fall, let us know. It's Mike at gardenfork.tv or Eric at gardenfork.tv. And by the way, Kristen, thank you very much for your comment. She's going to be making pizzas for her. She's getting married and she's having some family over, so she's going to make some pizzas inspired by us. So that was kind of cool. And you wouldn't know, but there are 5 Labradors in my living room right now. They have been such maniacs all morning that they're all sleeping. One is drinking water. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's kind of weird when they're all not moving. You know, you're wondering if something's wrong, but they're all sleeping. So I will post a picture of them on the site. They're all sleeping.
All right, we'll be back with more Garden Fork after this. Garden Fork is brought to you by Allison House, providing severe weather data when you need it. Learn more at allisonhouse.com or click on their ad on the gardenfork.tv site. You're listening to Garden Fork Radio. It's cooking, gardening, and other fun stuff. Welcome back.
Hey, we are back with Song of the Week. I actually had some time this week to think about this, and this is a song called How Far by Jameson Young. You can learn more about Jameson at jamyoung.net. That's jamyoung.net. You can download the full album for free there. You can learn more about where he's going to be. He's doing a lot of traveling in Europe, I saw on his blog. And this is called How Far. We also used this song in a Real World Green episode about using the train instead of driving in your car. So here we go. How Far by Jameson Young.
Up and down the same old hill, on the train the same old crew, and I'll be looking for a change. In the office, same young lady gives a smile, and it's off into a daze, and I'll be looking for a change. How far, how far, how far can the streaming go? How far, how far, how far can the streaming go? Wondering what that smile means. Is it a safety zone or a way of seeing through? At the station I only have loose change. I'll be waiting for greener times, a way out of this. How far, how far, how far can the streaming go? How far, how far, how far can the streaming go? The open road, then the rising. All alone, it's good to be on this trip. The sun that shines through the sky can't break away. 10,000 tracks all divided into 10. Everywhere's a junction, everything everywhere. How far, how far, how far can the streaming go? How far, how far, how far can the streaming
Okay. Well, we had a blog post this week on the viewer forums, and I like to bring those up, by Josie. And she put up this great recipe and some pictures of what she had made. I think there was a picture of what she made. Maritime Donairs or Donairs. Have you ever had these? It's an East Coast thing.
Mm-mm.
It was interesting. There's actually in our show notes. There's a link to it, and it's on the Garden Fork forums. And it's like a meat, like some kind of beef, and let me look at the Italian seasoning, ground oregano, salt, and ground beef. It looks like a spiced meat that you like a sausage without the casing, and then you slice it up, and then you put it on a pita with some sauce and tomatoes and lettuce. It looks very much like a gyro.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah.
And they're not called gyros. It's pronounced gyros.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of those around here. Do you guys have gyros in New York?
Was that I'm sorry, but of course we have them in the...
I don't know. There's Midwest stuff.
That's this thing, culinary capital of the world, Mike.
Of the world? Okay. Come on, French listeners. Let Eric have it.
The French Canadians are going to get mad at us. Yeah, it
does.
does.
I don't know. I'm sure you have everything, but areas. We have sausage around here and cheese. Can you get cheese curds anywhere you want in New York? I'm sure you have to go to the specialty curd truck.
I was going to say, go to Dean and DeLuca. You could get your cheese curds 24/7. Well, this actually kind of shows you how foods have a variation depending on what country they've migrated to. Like the gyros, maybe it started in Greece, I don't know, but this has some Turkish background in it, the kebabs and everything. So it starts in one place maybe 400 years ago and has moved through the world and has little variations on it. There was a podcast by the lady whose name I'm blanking on, called Why We Eat, on the Heritage Radio Network. Erica Wides, Chef Wides, and she was talking about how the French, when they colonized Vietnam, they brought their foods, but the Vietnamese adopted their foods and gave it their own spin. So it's like they might be kind of amped up in spiciness, but she was talking about like iced coffee and how different it is in Vietnam versus, in France. But it's just kind of neat how foods travel through the world and kind of morph is the right word, or adapt. I don't know. But if you guys have some examples of that, let us know. So.
But this is a good example because it looks very much like a gyros, but it's let's see, oregano. There's flour in it. I'm guessing that's a binder. Black pepper, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder. So it's not the Middle Eastern kind of flavors, and they say sometimes they use lamb in it, but it sounds just like a gyro.
Yeah, nice.
But
wow.
It's a nice article. It's on the Garden Fork viewer forums, which I guess are going to be moving soon, right? But don't let that stop you from sharing or signing up.
Wow.
And there you go.
All right, are we done?
I'm done.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Send us email, Eric at GardenForkTV or Mike at GardenFork.tv. And we're on Facebook and Twitter. And tell us what you think. Oh, the Labradors are waking up. All right. Make it a great day. I'll see you.
Yep. Bye.